distinctly different stages that we go through when we're in that cycle. And for someone who's not bleeding, whether they're breastfeeding or pregnant or post-menopause, then they're more aligned with the moon cycle, right? Because it's the same rhythm, actually. And when a woman is really deeply in tune with her body and earth, then the moon cycle and the body will align. And that happened to me for a long time, but now I'm sort of moving into the perimenopausal phase, so it's a little bit different, like it starts to get a bit more unpredictable. So in a nutshell, with our cycle, like we all are familiar with the bleeding time. So a woman bleeds once a month, give or take, depending on the time of her cycle. So the bleeding time is such a powerful time for deep rest and renewal and letting go of the month that's been, just a deep surrender. And it's also a time when the veils between the worlds get thinner. So it's like a natural time when a woman can be more visionary, can be more receptive to receiving messages, dreams, visions. And it's interesting because back in ancient times, the women would bleed together because a lot of people are already familiar that their cycles can sync up. You know, if you're living with someone, your pheromones affect each other and your cycles can start to align. So when people were more living in tribes, in nature, they would, without all that fluoro lights affecting our bodies, they would bleed together and they'd go in the red tent. This is not in all cultures, but in some. And the women would bleed together and they would call for a vision. They would trust their visions and they would emerge out of the bleeding tent and share what emerged, share their clarity, share their wisdom, share their visions with the tribe. And that would determine what was going to happen that month. It was really honoured and respected, that information. So we can do this in our own lives. I do this. I journey deeply with my blood cycles, and this is how I have people look at me and go, how do you do so much? And, I'm homeschooling 5 kids and I run a business and all this stuff, right? But I really allow a releasing at the bleeding time. So then I emerge into the fresh new moon cycle or month cycle with fresh ideas. I trust what comes through and I know exactly what to focus on. And then that emerging is like the energy starts to rise again. So you step out into the world quietly at first, and then as you go, it's similar to the full moon, right? So you've got the dark moon and then it goes up to a peak of the full moon. Our cycles do that. So your energy gradually builds and then you can get, more extroverted, more creative and peaking around the full moon, like mid-cycle when you're ovulating. Because ovulation, naturally, you're at your most sexy and attractive and, you're fertile. So then that happens. And then after that, the cycle starts to darken again. And so you can start to see, okay, what needs to finish up, what projects need to be finished, what do I need to release from my life as we get closer and closer to the darkness, down to the bleeding time, especially those few days before. It's such an intense time for a woman because our perception is highly enhanced. We can see everything that's out of alignment in our life. We've got a total radar, right? And see and because this is combined with this problem that we've already mentioned, that women are suppressed, right? So a lot of women are not in their power, they're not in their voice, they don't speak their truth. A lot of it's all internal. So women will just hit the roof at that time. So we look at that time of premenstrual, instead of seeing that is gold, that is amazing. If every woman was able to honour her perception at that time and able to speak up and ask for what she needs and point out what she can see in a really clear way, the point of that is to just release and clear and heal and complete anything out of alignment, and then go into that bleeding space and just drop in and surrender and bleed and rest and dream and vision and then come out the other side. Right? So does that explain it?
Yeah, and it's really, really interesting when you look at the idea that, we are microcosms of the macrocosm because, you said that we're cyclic beings. You go through this cycle and the whole planet is going through this other cycle. Yeah. Is it 26,000 years or?
Yes.
And then we also have other cycles in our body, obviously, like inhale, exhale, that's a cycle.
Yeah, and the seasons of the earth. Yeah, like everything is a cycle. Everything's cyclical. The only sort of straight line, linear logic stuff is kind of just like imposed with our mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's, obviously we want to have a balance of structure and form. You need structure, and this is something I'm only learning. Like I'm in my 40s now.
Yeah.
I'm finally realizing, okay, like structure is okay. It's a good thing to have, because I think I rebelled when I was younger. I was brought up in a very controlled environment. Everything was set to the clock, basically. Like my mum, very efficient with bedtimes and meal times and school times and homework. And I just felt so constricted that when I left home, I just let that all go. And I think that's why I'm an entrepreneur, because I just don't want to be bound by someone else's interpretation of what needs to happen when. But now it's like, okay, I need structure that's going to support me in a way that's nourishing and not constrictive. So that's that kind of dance that I'm in at the moment.
Yeah. When I was reading through your blog, you mentioned that the womb is a temple. Can you tell us a little bit about what you meant by that?
Yeah, sure. Well, see, the womb in a woman's body is such a sacred place. It is it's a birthplace of creation. I work a lot with womb wisdom, where if you actually bring your attention down and breathe deeply down into your womb, see, a lot of women will find that they don't notice anything. They feel a bit numb. And see, that's because our energy, as women, we receive, with the ancient tantric understanding of energy flow, we receive energy in through our vagina, and it comes up and it goes out through our heart. So there's a cycle of energy, goes in, up and out. And for men it's opposite. It goes out their genitals and then in through their heart, right? So when we come together in sacred union, it's this incredible energy that can cycle between us. So the point of that, coming back to the womb, is that we're very receptive in our reproductive area. So if we have been, which we all have been, immersed in a culture that just does not honour the feminine, does not understand our sexuality. Most women, all of them actually, that I've spoken to, have had sexual experiences that they didn't enjoy or maybe consented to without fully feeling a yes in their body. All of those things energetically affect our reproductive area. It's like it soaks it in. So a lot of women are walking around with a lot of stored memories and energy, really, in the womb area, which blocks us from accessing the deeper wisdom that we can find there. So in my work with women, I support them. Okay, let's explore what your womb wants to say, or what's trapped there, or what haven't you given voice to. Talk about, especially sexual experiences. That's so huge, because sexuality is so entwined with our power, because the sexual energy, the way I see it, it's not just about having sex, it's the creative life force energy, and this is what flows through our womb. And when, currently now, I'm facilitating, I'm the temple keeper of the Divine Mother Temple with women who are really deeply journeying into this stuff, right? Which is so cool. I love that this is happening on planet. And so we bring our intention. So what is it that you want to birth into the world? Say you've got an idea, a vision, a dream, a project. It could even be, it doesn't need to be a lofty, huge thing. It could be anything. And you just really call that, plant the seed in your womb, in your creative womb temple, like your cauldron, right? And then you just really breathe into that and give life to it. And you can kind of imagine that you're birthing the energy of that seed birthing into the world. And this is the power we have as women to be visionary, to, birth new things that don't exist yet. We are the life givers. And so the womb as a temple is a sacred place to cultivate these new visions, these dreams, and she is our teacher. If we're able to slow down and listen, really tune into that womb wisdom, it also connects us with the earth. The energy of the womb is so similar to the energy of the earth. If you think about the center of the earth, because we're actually kind of in between the 3D dense reality and the 5D cosmic shift, right? So we're kind of a foot in two worlds. And So that the womb of the earth, it can be seen as like the core or center of the earth, but also the galactic center, which is also like the birthplace of creation. So we have this womb inside us, and this connects us with the core of the earth. So it kind of, the way I've facilitated incredible circles with women where we all connect. We feel this, like, the umbilical cord that the baby has to the mother. It's like we have this umbilical cord from our womb to the earth, so we can directly tune in. And when we do that, we can receive messages. We can get clear, what is your unique path on this earth? Why are you here? Because we're all here to be of service to life. That's the way I see it. We're all part of it. And so that connection with your womb temple gives you access to, okay, who are you? What are you here for? What are you here to birth in the world? How can you make the world a better place? So, yeah, that's why the womb is our temple.
Yeah, that's very thorough explanation. I'm curious, through your work that you've done on yourself and your clients, what sort of results have you seen using this method of birthing and creating new projects and bringing your visions to life?
Well, actually, it's really magical. It's almost like, when you operate from this place, because firstly, it's tuned into such a deep truth inside yourself. It's not like you suddenly got this idea and you think this should happen a certain way. When you actually become still and receptive and you listen, receive the message, you're in alignment, right? You're in alignment with your body, with your mind, your soul, spirit, everything's in alignment. So it's like your vibration that you have in your body will attract exactly what you need to do the thing. You don't get hit, you don't get stuck by roadblocks and this. It's like all of a sudden the path opens up and synergy happens, synchronicities happen, the exact thing, the exact person will come to you when you need it. And it's like, it's a whole different experience of life, right? And things happen so much faster and it's so much easier because it's like every action that you take from that place is so direct and so potent that you can get a lot more done with a lot less effort, with a lot better results. And that's how I do everything now, really. Now that I know, why wouldn't you, right? Once you understand this, it makes life easier and more beautiful, and it deepens connection in relationships. It deepens, sexual pleasure. If you have a partner, if you're enjoying that part of your life with someone, which again is a whole other taboo topic that people go, oh, I don't want to talk about that, especially if you're a mother. It's a whole other level of taboo around that. And so let's have this conversation. That's why we're here, right? To talk about these things, because it's all directly related to our power, our ability to change things, our ability to have a positive influence in the world. So yeah, things just dramatically changed when you do align with this deeper truth, with the earth, and then you know that you're doing your soul work. You're on purpose,
Do you feel that this alignment, when you're in that state and creating this magic, do you feel that is a state where you transcend time and space?
Yeah, totally. It's actually pretty cosmic, you're still in this 3D reality, but the effort that you put in is just amplified. The impact of the effort is amplified. And also when you're in a flow state, you're in such a present moment awareness that you don't even notice time. Time just sort of disappears.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter how long things take. It's like things can be so quick because you're just in it and it's all flowing and happening, and all of a sudden it's like this has happened. I actually probably need to tell the stories. I won't tell them all now because it'll take too long, but of the different offerings that I have birthed especially since last year, since I've really much more connected with this energy, and I've been guiding other women. This course called Awakening Aphrodite that came in while I was bleeding, calling in the vision. Okay, it's coming in and actually it's ready now. There's women who will love this, and you need to call them in, because I do shamanic journeys. I do shamanic drum journeys where I go on a shamanic drum journey and I meet with guides and teachers. And there's 2 teachers that I actually talk to in the shamanic realms and receive practical guidance and information, and I act on it. right? So anytime if I'm unsure, I'll just go on a shamanic journey